My gentle husband secretly kept a mistress for 16 years using my dowry. The young son I nurtured with care turned out to be not only the bastard child of that usurping mistress. He also despised me for obstructing their family reunion, constantly plotting my death. My heart turned to ashes, seeing no hope left in this life. The instant I pulled out my hairpin to kill myself, I suddenly awakened. If I died, wouldn't that leave the adulterous couple free to revel in their sin? Why wait for rebirth? I would exact my vengeance in this very life. I stood frozen, unable to believe the scene before me. My husband Xiao Shuyan, who had shared my bed and table for over a decade, now held a middle-aged beauty whose allure remained undimmed. His eyes held an indescribable depth of affection. What was even harder to bear was my beloved young son, whom I had cherished for years. Gazing at the woman with adoring eyes and calling her mother, my mind spun in a dizzying whirl. If she was his mother, then what was I? My maid, Wan Dong, looked both shocked and furious as she studied my weakening body. Fragmented voices drifted up from the cottage below the mountain. I clearly heard my beloved son, Qiao Jishuan, speak in his usual spirited tone. That old woman is unbearable. All she does is force me to study. I think she just wants me to bring her honor. That's why she won't let me marry Chiotong. You're so much better. Mother, you love Shinner the most. The middle-aged bow-tie's eyes flickered before she gently scraped her young son's nose. Your mother's only child. Who else would I cherish? Their intimacy stabbed my heart with pain. I never imagined that all my careful guidance over the years would be seen by my young son as oppression, done solely for my own face. Father, when will you finally divorce that old woman? If not for her, our family of 3 could have been reunited long ago. Xiao Jishuan continued his chatter, his careless tone making my blood run cold. Playing her real son for 16 years. What a bloody curse. Her own son drowned at birth. She got 16 years of family bliss for nothing. She got off easy, Xiao Jishuan chuckled, drawing laughter from Qiao Shuyan and the middle-aged beauty. Good boy. Xian, mother made your favorite black chicken soup. Come inside and drink it. You can relax here with me. Xiao Jishuan happily went inside to drink the soup. I stood frozen, eyes wide. I should have been hysterically charging at these beasts. Yet I remained rooted to the spot. The betrayal of my husband, who had always treated me with respect, the disgust of my once obedient young son, and the early death of my biological son, all this left my mind in utter turmoil, my brain feeling like a tangled mess. Below, Xiao Shuyan and the middle-aged beauty continued their conversation. The woman nestled into Qiao Shuyan's embrace, tears glistening in her eyes. He held her hand. Chi-Chi, you've suffered these past days. Household matters kept me occupied, and I couldn't visit you sooner. The middle-aged beauty shook her head tearfully. I understand, my lord. With such a fierce and troublesome wife at home, you must naturally tread carefully, for the sake of your future. I can endure any hardship. I nearly laughed in fury. This adulterous pair actually spoke as if I had cruelly separated these star-crossed lovers. Chi-Chi, wait a little longer. Song Qingshan has some use after all, pushes Xian to study relentlessly every day. Now, at just 16, Xian has passed the provincial exams and become a renowned scholar. Soon, you'll enter the Qiao household to enjoy your blessings. But the beautiful middle-aged woman shook her head. The time isn't right yet. Xian keeps talking about marrying a courtesan. If we oppose it, it'll only drive a wedge between mother and son. Let's use Song Qingshan instead. Have her deal with that courtesan. Not only will it eliminate our worries, but it'll also make Xian utterly disgusted with her. Xiao Shuyan burst into loud laughter. Chi-Chi truly possesses the grace of orchids and the heart of orchids. You're right. Once Song Qingshan handles this matter, she'll be worn out and ready to die, hidden behind a tree. I saw Qiao Shuyan's expression clearly. The icy murderous intent that seeped from his words sent shivers down my spine. This was the husband I had adored for over a decade. For him, I had willingly accepted a marriage below my station. Yet not only had he always treated me with insincere affection, He now sought to squeeze every last drop of value from me before discarding me to die. I didn't know how I made it back to the mansion, numbly locking myself in my room. My heart felt hollow and empty. My peripheral vision suddenly caught sight of a storybook resting on the dressing table, and my gaze froze. It was the most popular storybook in the capital lately, The Golden Phoenix Hairpin. The tale told of a pitiful woman deceived and betrayed, who after rebirth wreaked havoc, ruthlessly punished the scoundrel from her past life, and finally found her perfect match, living harmoniously and lovingly ever after. At every banquet, the ladies present inevitably discussed the plot of The Golden Hairpin. My eyes were glued to the storybook, my heart pounding wildly. Could rebirth truly exist? Could I really get another chance? If there was a next life, I would avoid that beast Xiao Shuyan at all costs. I would save my own son. My expression grew frantic as trembling hands pulled the hairpin from my hair. The pin pierced my neck, a sharp pain shooting through me, just as I resolved to thrust it through my throat. The anxious voice of another maid, Inghe, pierced the silence. Madam, young master has smashed another food box sent to him. He hasn't eaten or drunk for 2 days. Barricaded in the ancestral hall, the old madam insists you persuade him. Wandong. Why are you blocking the door? Let me in. The hairpin poised to pierce my throat froze midair. My dear son had gone to meet his biological mother. Hadn't he? Why would he refuse food and water? A mocking smile slowly curled my lips. Only at death's door did I absurdly realize my own maid had betrayed me too. Everyone in this household conspired to treat me like a fool, spinning me round and round. Let him starve himself if he wishes, I said coldly. Wandong must have sensed the edge in my voice. She dismissed Ding Xiang and hurriedly pushed open the door, spotting the hairpin pressed against my throat. She gasped and lunged forward to snatch it away. Miss, she cried, kneeling on the floor, I know your heart is heavy. But please, don't do anything foolish. Remember Lady Zhang. She took her own life less than 10 days ago, and now Master Zhang intends to make that fox-like woman his official wife. I froze. Make her his legitimate wife. Madame Zhang had been my closest confidant before my marriage. Later, she fell for a merchant and chose to sever ties with her family to marry him. Little did we know that soon after their wedding, the merchant's true colors emerged. Not only did he frequent brothels daily, but he also brought a courtesan into their home. He openly favored his concubine over his wife, even intending to elevate the courtesan to cowwife status. Unable to bear the humiliation, Zhang swallowed gold and took her own life. Yet now, barely days after her death, that merchant intends to elevate the courtesan to his legitimate wife. Yes. Wandong's voice dripped with disgust. It's just pitiful for the children Mrs. Zhang left behind, now struggling to survive under that vixen's thumb. Wandong's words struck me like a thunderbolt, jolting me awake. Yes, death meant losing everything. If I truly took my own life, wouldn't that simply hand victory to Qiao Shuyan and his adulterous mistress? Qiao Shuyan wouldn't even need to trouble himself with eliminating Mei He, could immediately live in blissful union with his concubine. A torrent of rage surged in my eyes as I swept the golden hairpin poem from the table. Wait for rebirth. I'll exact my vengeance in this very life. Let me be the villain who breaks up their love, while they play the devoted parents. In their dreams, they wanted to use me to stop a courtesan from entering the household. Then I'll make sure Qiao Jishuan marries one. After hiding the hatred on my face, Wandong helped me rearrange my hair and makeup. When I arrived at Qiao Jixuan's listening to rain pavilion, my dear husband was already there. The moment he saw me, he flew into a rage. Is this how you manage the household? Qing Shang. I am utterly disappointed in you. I didn't even acknowledge Qiao Shuyan, fearing that if I locked eyes with him, I wouldn't be able to resist stabbing him with scissors. I threw myself at Qiao Jixuan's bedside. My dear Xianer, how could you harm your own body for a woman? Don't you realize how much this breaks your mother's heart? Qiao Jishuan lay on the bed, his expression haughty. As long as mother refuses to let her son marry Qiutong, this son will refuse to eat. Fine. Is it not enough that I agree? Father and son froze simultaneously. Joy flashed in Xiao Jixuan's eyes as he propped himself up on his elbows. Mother, you truly consent to my marrying Chiutong? I wiped away tears. You're my thorn in the side. Now you're threatening death over her. What choice do I have? I can't just watch you starve yourself to death, thank you. Mother, I knew you loved me most. While Qiao Jixuan was overcome with excitement, Qiao Shuyan, standing nearby, was furious. He growled, "No. How can you let a courtesan enter the Qiao family gates?" I held Qiao Jixuan close, pleading earnestly, "Husband, I know you've always disapproved of Xian marrying a courtesan. You even warned me that if I couldn't stop it, you'd severely punish Xian. But seeing Xian like this, I simply can't bear to tear apart a pair of lovebirds. Father, if you must punish someone, punish me instead." Hearing my words, Qiao Jixuan shot his father a peculiar look. Qiao Shuyan's eyes flickered. When did I ever say that? Haven't you been the one adamantly forbidding Xianer from acting recklessly? I looked at him joyfully. Husband, does this mean you agree to let Xianer marry Chiutong? Qiao Shuyan choked, meeting his son's gaze filled with both suspicion and expectation. Finally, speechless, he swept his sleeves and left. After he left, I affectionately tucked the bed covers around Xiao Jixuan and handed him 100 taels of silver. Xianer, since you're so determined to marry Miss Chiutong, you must show her your sincerity. Tomorrow is the Lantern Festival. Take this money and go admire the lanterns with her. Xiao Jixuan took the silver, his expression shifting from surprise to displeasure. This 100 taels isn't even enough for a single pearl hairpin for Chiutang. Mother, give me more. I replied with difficulty. Your grandmother manages all household finances. This 100 taels is the most I can offer. As Xiao Jixuan frowned, I changed the subject. But grandmother has always favored you most. If you ask her, she'll surely give you silver. Only then did Xiao Jixuan break into a delighted smile. He tossed aside his quilt and dashed toward the old lattice courtyard, completely disregarding the dramatic act of starving for love had just performed before me. Not long after, Wan Dong whispered in my ear. Young master went to ask the old lady for silver. She was about to give it to him, but the moment she heard it was for spending on a courtesan, she immediately took the silver back. I heard he even caused a scene in the north courtyard, saying neither the old lady nor the master truly cherish him, and only you, madam, love him most. I covered my mouth and smiled. Of course I cherished him. I had gone to great lengths to arrange a splendid marriage for him, but he looked down on it, insisting instead on marrying a courtesan from a brothel. Since that was the case, I, as his mother, kindly granted his wish and thoroughly ruined that fine match for him. On the second day of the Lantern Festival, the wife of the Right Vice Minister of Rights came calling. I had barely greeted her with a smile when Lady Qing replied with a forced smile. Yesterday, my maid witnessed your son and the courtesan of Qingfeng Pavilion exchanging vows beneath the moonlight. Truly, they make a perfect match, a handsome gentleman and a beautiful lady. Since your son has already found his beloved, perhaps we should put an end to the earlier talk between our families. Her words were phrased as a proposal for discussion. Yet Madame Chang's stance was unyielding. I sighed helplessly, replying, "Your daughter is virtuous and gracious. My son is simply not worthy of such fortune." Our families had only mentioned the idea in passing. Now, we must ensure it does not hinder your daughter's future, seeing I would not insist. Madame Chang's expression softened slightly. Since we've clarified matters, I shall take my leave. Just as I was about to depart, Wan Dong suddenly announced, "Madam, the old lady has arrived." With that, Lady Qiao entered the hall, her face beaming. Spotting Mrs. Cheng, she greeted her warmly. "Dear mother-in-law, what wind has blown you here today? Could it be you've come to discuss the marriage between our families?" Madame Cheng's recently relaxed expression instantly hardened. "Madame Qiao, please watch your words. The Qiao family has sent no marriage proposal to the Cheng household. What marriage are you speaking of? Moreover, I've long heard that the young master of the Qiao residence is infatuated with a courtesan, even going so far as to starve himself in protest for her. Such a lovesick man is far beyond what my son, Qing Yuan, could handle. The smile froze on Lady Qiao's face. I hurriedly stood and tried to smooth things over. Mother, since Jishuan is so set on marrying that courtesan, why should we delay, Miss Qing? Lady Qiao instantly flew into a rage, taking out all the frustration she had swallowed from Mrs. Qing on me. Who says Xian wants to marry a courtesan? I won't allow it. How have you managed this household, allowing a courtesan to enter our doors? Where would the Qiao family's honor be then? If that courtesan steps foot inside, you may request your own divorce. Madame Qiao's cruel and vicious expression ignited a raging fire of hatred within me. For Qiao Xian's sake, I had endured this old hag time and again. Did she truly think me a soft target? I immediately clutched my handkerchief and feigned tears. Mother, tell me what displeases you about me. When Xu Yan asked me to hand over my entire dowry for your management, I gave it all to you. Mother, I'll do anything you ask, just please don't let Xu Yan divorce me. These words caused both Lady Qiao and Mrs. Chang's expressions to darken. Madame Qiao's face darkened alarmingly. She flatly denied it. What nonsense are you spouting? Who told you to hand over your dowry to me? Such wild claims will only tarnish the Qiao family's reputation. I gasped in shock, turning anxiously to Madame Cheng and nodding frantically at her. Yes, Madame Cheng, I was just making things up. My husband absolutely never asked me to hand over my entire dowry. Madame Cheng regarded us strangely, opening her mouth as if to speak, but ultimately only sighed heavily. Madame Song, I shall take my leave. The moment Madame Cheng departed, old Madame Qiao raised her hand as if to strike me. My eyes turned cold as I seized her arm and flung her away with force. Mother, I only agreed to hand over my dowry for Xian's sake. Since you refuse to manage it for me, you'd best return it promptly. If my dowry isn't fully returned by tomorrow, I can't guarantee that the scandal of a distinguished imperial tutor coveting his wife's dowry won't spread throughout the capital. After I pushed her away, Lady Qiao was about to erupt in fury, but catching the icy glint in my eyes, her eyelids twitched violently. She dared not lecture me as she had before. That very night, Qiao Shuyan stormed into my room, seething with rage. Qin Shang, how dare you speak to your mother with such insolence today? You've angered her so much she's taken ill. Go to the north courtyard immediately, kowtow in apology, and promise never to defy her again. The bronze mirror reflected the smug arrogance that rightfully graced his face. My grip on the hairpin tightened relentlessly. How utterly blind had I been before, unable to see the haughty disdain and impatience lurking beneath his handsome features. My tone grew equally harsh. Today she humiliated me before Lady Cheng. I believe I've shown her sufficient respect and fulfilled every duty expected of a mistress of the household. Yet for some reason, Mother simply dislikes me. Could it be she believes someone else is more suited to lead the Qiao household? Does she think I've usurped that position? Which is why she constantly finds fault with me. In the bronze mirror, Qiao Xuyan's brow furrowed briefly before relaxing. His earlier anger faded, his tone softening slightly. Qin Shang, why are you overthinking this? You are the best matriarch the Qiao household could have. I gave a silent, cold laugh. No matter what I do, Mother will never be satisfied. Since that's the case, I might as well take back my dowry and properly prepare the betrothal gifts for Shinner. Seeing Qiao Shuyan about to speak, I cut him off. Didn't you always say I was too strict with Shinner? Now that he's finally found someone he cares for, it's only right that his mother fulfills his wish. Husband, you can sleep in the study tonight. I'm tired. After sending Qiao Shuyan away, I slept soundly and contentedly. The next morning, Lady Qiao returned my dowry with a dark expression. Qiao Shuyan also spoke coldly. You may bring that courtesan into the household, but only as a concubine. I glanced at Qiao Jishuan. I had no idea how they discussed it last night, but he agreed. I offered a gentle smile and immediately redeemed Xiao Tang's freedom. If she was to enter the household, Better sooner than later. Who knew if this wasn't just a delaying tactic concocted by Qiao Shuyan and the old crone. On the day Qiao Tang was welcomed in, everyone's expressions were grim except mine and Qiao Jixuan's. The more sour their faces grew, the more genuine my smile became. Seeing Qiao Jixuan's heartache at having to let his beloved enter through the side gate, I knew this Qiao Tang was no ordinary woman. Sure enough, barely 2 days after her arrival, she set her sights on the household management of the Qiao residence. Mother, it's time for you to enjoy your twilight years. Now that your daughter-in-law has entered the family, it's only right that she share some of the burden during the morning greetings. Before I could even finish my tea, Qiao Tang spoke up with a sweet, delicate expression. Qiao Jixuan chimed in beside her, his tone righteous. Yes, mother. Hand over the household management to Qiao Tang out of the corner of my eye. I caught the calculating glint hidden beneath Qiao Tang's feigned vulnerability. My lips curved into a faint smile. What a clever scheme. In my former temperament, a concubine who was once a courtesan daring to covet the household duties would have been severely punished. But now, I couldn't wish for the Qiao household to be any more chaotic. Very well. Since you're so eager, you may share some of Mother's household responsibilities. Thank you, Mother, Qiao Tang exclaimed, her surprise and delight evident. Even her tone of addressing me as Mother sounding more sincere. On her first day overseeing the household, Qiao Tang threw herself into her duties with zeal. She inspected not only the storerooms, kitchens, and medicine chambers, but even the secluded corners of the garden. No sooner had she stepped into a garden nook than she overheard 2 young maids gossiping. Did you hear? Young Master Jixuan isn't actually the master's biological son. Just as Qiao Tang prepared to reprimand these gossiping maids to establish her authority, the revelation of this secret made her pause abruptly. What? Impossible. Master dotes on young Master Jixian so much, how could he not be his biological son? You don't know. The truth is, the mistress is unable to bear children, but master and mistress are deeply devoted to each other and don't mind. The young master was actually adopted. Think about it, if he were truly the master's biological son, how could he possibly agree to the young master marrying a courtesan? Now the young master's stubborn insistence on marrying that woman has infuriated the master. Word is the master plans to adopt another child from the clan to inherit the Qiao family estate. Good heavens. Is that true? What will become of young Master Jixian? What else can he do? Get kicked out of the house. That's what. Who told him to disobey the master? Still, since he was raised by the family, they probably won't let him suffer too much. He'll just lose his current fancy lifestyle. So if someone manages to bear the master's child, wouldn't she rise from rags to riches? More than that, I bet the master regrets it now. Who wouldn't want a biological son? If you bear his only heir, you might even become the matriarch. The 2 maids giggled and bickered as they left the garden. Qiao Tang remained standing alone, her eyes darkening. The maids turned out of the garden and quietly approached my Ime pavilion. I handed them a silver ingot. Did you deliver the message? Rest assured, madam, it's been delivered under the guise of managing household affairs. Qiao Tang gained legitimate opportunities to interact with Qiao Shuyan. This woman might be average in other respects, but when it came to seducing men, she truly excelled. Within a mere month, she and Qiao Shuyan had begun exchanging flirtatious glances. Perhaps in Qiao Shuyan's eyes, Qiao Tang was merely a courtesan to be toyed with at will. Never regarded her as part of the Qiao family. Yet since she was still nominally his son's concubine, their relationship remained confined to flirtatious glances. Neither dared take the next step. If they wouldn't make the move, I'd have to give them a push. That day, under the pretext of paying respects to the star god of literature, I took Qiao Jixuan out with me. I also had someone slip a little something into the ginseng broth Qiao Tang delivered to Qiao Shuyan daily. Halfway there, as I was counting the offerings I'd brought, I suddenly slapped my forehead. Oh dear, I forgot the zongzi. Qiao Jixuan replied casually. Just buy some at the foot of the mountain. How could that be? I pouted indignantly. Mother stayed up all night wrapping them. Each one has your name written on it.do. You understand sincerity. How could something bought casually down the mountain carry any sincerity? We haven't gone far anyway. Let's turn the carriage around and go back to get them. Xiao Jishuan couldn't persuade me otherwise and reluctantly agreed. The moment we returned to the courtyard, the maid by Qiu Tang's side saw him and panicked. Dropping the cup she held, Xiao Jishuan frowned, scanning the area before asking, "Where is concubine Qiu?" "Concubine. Concubine," the maid stammered, sweat beading on her forehead. Xiao Jishuan's expression darkened completely. He kicked her lightly. "I asked where concubine Qiu is." "Concubine is in the master's study." She brought him ginseng soup. The maid's guilty expression felt like a hand clutching Xiao Jishuan's heart. He didn't want to doubt Qiu Tang, yet his feet silently carried him to his father's study. As he neared the door, the familiar, coquettish moans of a woman pierced his ears like a sharp blade. "Master, gently. I can't bear it." "Good Qiu Tang, didn't you say you'd bear the master a son? Once you're pregnant, the master will reclaim you from Xianer. He's just a greenhorn. Cow'll he ever satisfy a wanton woman like you? Yet here you are, offering yourself. Of the moment I saw you, my legs went weak. Ji Xian never gave me this kind of pleasure." The sounds of their flirtation shattered the last remnants of illusion in Xiao Jishuan's heart. The rage of being humiliated, betrayed, and stabbed in the back by his own father made his eyes instantly red with fury. Consumed by rage, he kicked open the study door without a second thought. "You whore!" "Ah!" The couple inside clung to each other in terror, recognizing the figure at the doorway. Xiao Xian's face twisted in horror. He sprang to his feet and shoved Qiu Tang away. "Adulterous scum!" Xiao Jishuan screamed. Xiao Xian's face alternated between pale and crimson, though initially flustered at being caught by his son. The audacity of his son's rebuke made his expression darken instantly. He slapped Xiao Jishuan across the face. "You insolent brat! How dare you speak to your father like that?" He glanced expressionlessly at Qiu Tang, who stood disheveled and tearful. "You could have any woman you desire. How dare you defy your father for a promiscuous harlot who sleeps with every man? If word of this spreads, what will become of the Qiao family's reputation? Keeping this woman is nothing but trouble. Xianer, now. Let your father see your resolve." When I found Xiao Jishuan with the rice dumplings, he was staring blankly at a dry well in the back garden. "Xianer, what's wrong? Let's go." I gently placed my hand on his shoulder. "Ah!" Xiao Jishuan recoiled as if startled, yelling as he flung my hand away. Only after recognizing me did he scramble to his feet. "Mother, I'm not feeling well today. Let's postpone the memorial visit." With that, he hurriedly vanished into the rear garden. After that day, Qiu Tang, who had once run rampant in the Qiao residence, vanished without a trace. An invisible rift also appeared between Xiao Shuyan and Xiao Jishuan. Father and son who had once been inseparable, I seemed oblivious to the growing distance between them. I knew the real battle had only just begun. Less than half a month after Qiu Tang's death, a special guest unexpectedly arrived at the mansion. Xiao Shuyan, usually cold and distant, now radiated warmth as he gently supported a delicate, middle-aged beauty into the main hall. The elderly Lady Qiao was already weeping bitterly. Before the woman could approach, she hurried forward, clutching her hand and wailing, "Chi-Chi. You've finally come to see your aunt." Lu Chi-Chi also shed tears. "Auntie, it is Chi-Chi who has been unfilial. I come now seeking refuge. I hope neither you nor my cousin will look down upon me." Xiao Shuyan restrained herself as she released her hand. "Cousin, mother would be overjoyed to have you in the manor. How could we possibly look down upon you?" I watched coldly as they put on this show before me. Perhaps it wasn't entirely an act. The old woman cherished this woman Xiao Shuyan's mistress hidden away for over a decade so deeply that she must truly be her niece. Her arrival today surely brought ill intent. I covered the smile tugging at my lips with my handkerchief. How convenient. Had she not come, how else could I send all three of them straight to hell? After the three of them finished their affectionate charade before me, Qiao Shuyan turned to instruct me. Qing Shang. Chi-Chi is an honored guest of the Qiao household. Clear out Ime Pavilion and move to Shuyuan, where I lived, was of no concern to me, but to willingly give up my place for Lu Chi-Chi. I scoffed. Fine. I suppose there's no need to pack for Bamboo Courtyard. I'll just move back to the Song residence. With that, I rose to gather my belongings. Qiao Shuyan and the old woman stiffened. Qing Shang, what are you up to now? Chi-Chi is our guest. How can you, as the mistress of this house, show no tolerance? The old woman went straight for the emotional blackmail. Since you married into the Qiao family, you're an outsider to the Song household. What kind of daughter-in-law abandons her own home to live elsewhere? People might think my family has wronged you. Wronged me. After my dear cousin arrived, she simply demanded I vacate my position as matriarch, regardless of whether the Song family treats me as an outsider. My bridal chamber from before my marriage has always been kept for me. Qing Shang. Qiao Shuyan grabbed my arm, forcing a gentle smile. You misunderstand. I just thought since Chi-Chi is our guest, our family could make do with a little less comfort. If you're unwilling, then forget it. Why bother disturbing father-in-law, mother-in-law, and my elder brother over such a trifling matter? Lu Kiki's eyes brimmed with hurt as she looked at Qiao Shuyan. Pressing her lips together, she said, cousin-in-law, I truly meant no offense. I chuckled. Auntie. No need for formalities. You're over 40 now. I'm hardly worthy of being called your cousin-in-law. The feigned sorrow on Lu Qianqian's face froze abruptly. Her hand trembled as she touched her cheek, clenching her teeth. Cousin-in-law. You really have a sense of humor. Qianqian is only 35 now. Oh my. 35 already. Then your son must be of marriageable age. Cousin Chi-Chi. Ah. What a blessed time to be doting on grandchildren. Why isn't your son here with you? The feigned vulnerability vanished from Lu Kiki's face. The old woman scowled and dismissed me. Go tell the kitchen to serve the meal. We have honored guests today. They must be treated well, after instructing a cook in the kitchen to prepare my favorite dishes. I returned to the north courtyard. Good heavens. The three of them, along with my stepson, were already seated in a circle, not leaving me a single spot. At first glance, they truly looked like a happy family. Whatever Lu Chi-Chi said made Qiao Shuyan, seated to her left, chuckle softly, while Qiao Jishuan, seated to her right, burst into loud laughter. I narrowed my eyes. Truly, she was his biological mother. In just one meeting, Shed managed to soften the tension between Qiao Shuyan and his father considerably. As I stepped into the room, their smiles vanished. Qiao Shuyan remarked, Qing Shang, it's been ages since you served your mother. Today, you'll stand and wait on us during the meal. I couldn't help but inhale sharply. Talk about giving him an inch. Under Qiao Shuyan's satisfied gaze, I stepped forward with a smile, scooped a spoonful of soup, then paused, set it down, and instead lifted the entire soup bowl, dumping its contents directly over Qiao Shuyan's head. Ah! Lu Kiki's shrill scream nearly pierced my eardrums. The old woman trembled with rage. What are you doing? Qiao Shuyan stared at me in disbelief. Before he could erupt, I clutched a handkerchief and began sobbing dramatically. Husband, I am the mistress of this household. How can you humiliate me like this? You've disappointed me so much. With that, she ran off crying. Qiao Shuyan stood stunned and numb. In the end, he gritted his teeth and came to apologize. Staring at his clenched fists, twisted with humiliation, I forced a cold smile. Can't take it already. The real show is yet to come. With Lu Qianqian's mediation, the ice between Qiao Jishuan and Qiao Shuyan began to thaw. Regardless of their true feelings, at least outwardly, father and son restored their former closeness. Half a month later, Qiao Shuyan's birthday finally arrived. Following custom, he invited his superiors, colleagues, fellow townsmen, and their families to his home as guests. As his cousin, Lu Qianqian naturally attended the banquet. During the feast, The other officials' wives inevitably fell into their usual banter. Song Qingsheng is truly blessed. Her husband dotes on her and hasn't taken a concubine all these years. Their son is bright and sensible, only 16. Yet already a scholar. I heard he recently took the provincial exams. If he passes, he'll become a Juran scholar. Someone couldn't resist adding a sour note. I say Song Qingsheng is just a jealous wife. What man in this world doesn't have 3 wives and 4 concubines? Yet she insists on monopolizing him. Catching my gaze out of the corner of her eye, the woman quickly shut her mouth. Far from angering me, I smiled warmly at the speaker and replied, Madam Qian speaks wisely. With my husband being so generous to me, it only follows that I should be considerate to him in return. So, on this auspicious day, I've decided to take a concubine for my husband. Madam Qian stared at me, utterly speechless. Once she realized I was serious, her gaze shifted to one reserved for fools, ignoring the women's stares. I grabbed Lu Qiqi from the corner and strode toward the men's seating area. As we passed, I overheard someone mocking Qiao Shuyan. Men as devoted as Magistrate Qiao are rare these days. My husband often scolds me. Using you as an example, Qiao Shuyan chuckled in reply. My wife is overly jealous. Unlike your virtuous lady, naturally, she can't compare to. I couldn't stand his nonsense and cut him off loudly. My lord has misunderstood me. The mansion is so quiet. I'd love to have more sisters to liven things up. I shoved the stunned Lu Qiqi right in front of Qiao Shuyan. Since today is such a joyous occasion, why not double the celebration? Take Qiqi as your concubine. The word concubine struck a nerve with both of them, snapping them back to reality. Noticing the curious stares from onlookers, Qiao Shuyan's anger nearly boiled over. Qingsheng, what are you doing? Qiqi is a young lady from a respectable family. How could she become a concubine? Even Qiao Jishuan, who had been seated on the other side, saw his own mother being bullied by me, this wicked foster mother, and immediately shot over like a firecracker, glaring at me fiercely. Why are you bullying my aunt? Mother, you've truly disappointed me. Just because Aunt Qi is gentle, virtuous, filial, and generous, beloved by everyone in the household, you resort to such humiliating tactics to force her away. It's bad enough you fall short of her in every way, but to have such a cruel heart too. Lu Qiqi instantly transformed into a dramatic actress, her voice trembling with feigned vulnerability and indignation. Auntie, if you don't want Qiqi staying at the Qiao residence, you could have just said so plainly. Why humiliate me like this? Qiqi swears on her life she'll never be a concubine. After this escalating tirade from the 3 of them, the guests' gazes toward me suddenly turned unnerving. TSK, TSK, TSK. Who would have thought Song Qingsheng was such a jealous harpy? To humiliate an innocent, virtuous girl like this, even her own son calls her a poisonous woman. Just how low can her character sink? The murmurs were incessant. I clenched my palms. So what if it was acting? Who couldn't pull it off? I flung my handkerchief aside and wailed. Qiqi, I never meant to humiliate you, but these past 2 weeks, I've seen how intimate you and my husband have been. He never allows me to enter his study freely, yet he permits you to be alone with him there late into the night. I assumed you two were deeply in love, but too shy to speak up. So I, as the legitimate wife, suggested taking a concubine. Could it be I misunderstood? Qiao Shuyan's face darkened instantly. What nonsense are you spouting? When have I ever been alone with Qiqi in her room? Ask Xianer if you don't believe Meihe's been in the study these past days. Xiao Jishuan hastily vouched for him. That's right. Mother, how could you harbor such malicious thoughts about father and his cousin? Every word cut like a knife. Staring at Xiao Jishuan's face twisted with malice, I spoke slowly, each word deliberate. Mother never realized that in Xianer's heart, his cousin holds more importance than his own mother, the woman who raised him from infancy. Mother merely wished to strengthen the bond between your father and his cousin. How is that malicious? Thinking of my own son, who died unjustly. A son I never even got to see. Tears and hatred welling in my eyes grew more palpable. To have your cousin, whom you've only known for half a month, slander your own mother as malicious. One might think Lu Qiqi was your birth mother. The words, spoken through blood-curdling sobs, sent a sudden pallor washing over Qiao Jixuan's face across from me, though he quickly regained his composure, glaring at me with feigned fury. Mother, I am your own flesh and blood. You can't say such things just because you're angry with me. But with so many eyes upon him, his guilt was plain for all to see. Now that you mention it, young Master Qiao doesn't resemble Lady Song at all. Magistrate Qiao has almond-shaped eyes. Lady Song has willow leaf eyes. Yet young Master Qiao shares the same apricot-shaped eyes as that Lu Qiqi girl. Someone blurted out these words instinctively, then immediately clamped their mouth shut. The sudden remark plunged the scene into an even deeper deathly silence. Even the usually composed Qiao Shuyan paled visibly. Finally, the embarrassingly awkward birthday banquet ended when the elderly Lady Qiao suddenly clutched her chest, collapsed, and feigned fainting. After the guests departed, Wan Dong, who had earlier hidden in the crowd and shouted amid the chaos, stepped forward to support me. I abandoned the mess and returned directly to Ime Pavilion. Over the following days, under my deliberate orchestration, rumors began circulating throughout the capital questioning whether Qiao Jixuan was actually Qiao Shiyan's illegitimate child. Born to a mistress, the tirade Qiao Jixuan had launched at me during the banquet, calling me a poisonous woman in front of all the guests to defend Lu Qianqian, provided the perfect evidence. These scornful rumors deeply wounded Qiao Jixuan, who had been the darling of heaven since childhood. The fatal blow came when he failed the provincial examination. The man everyone thought could compete for the top scholar title didn't even make the main list, relegated to first on the supplementary list, though both were first-place finishes. The main and supplementary lists were worlds apart. The reason was simple. The current emperor harbored a deep-seated loathing for illegitimate offspring. Having nearly deposed his own crown prince over such a scandal, Qiao Jixuan now carried the double burden of an ambiguous lineage and the suspicion of impersonating a legitimate heir, a direct violation of the emperor's taboos. Unwilling to gamble his reputation on a controversial scholar, the chief examiner simply marked Jixuan as failed to ensure peace. When a dazed Jixuan sought out Qiao Shuyan, he found me in the study, locked in a heated argument with his father. With Xian caught in these rumors, the only solution is to send Lu Qianqian away. I cried. Once she is gone, the gossip will fade. Qiao Shuyan knew I was right, but his decade-long separation from his cousin made him weak. This has nothing to do with Qianqian. Let the ignorant talk. Qiqi is innocento, drive her away is merely bullying a defenseless woman. Is a cousin truly more important than your son's future? I stared at him in disbelief. As long as she remains, the debate over Xian'er's legitimacy will never end. If the emperor begins to suspect he is your bastard son, his years of study will be ruined. Though his expression softened, Shu Yan remained stubbornly silent. Enraged, I smashed the tea sets on the floor and stormed out, only to find Jixuan standing frozen at the doorway. I let the tears flow freely. Xian'er, it is my fault for failing to persuade your father. Before Lu Qianqian appeared, we were the capital's model family and you were the city's pride. Now, your father ruins your reputation for a stranger. Why is he so foolish? I feigned sobs behind my handkerchief, catching a glimpse of Jixuan's darkened face. My words had struck deep. He grabbed my hand, his voice trembling. Mother, what should I do? Are you truly going to watch my future crumble? I shook my head, sobbing. Your father won't listen to reason now. I fear he'll ruin the entire Qiao household for that Lu Qiqi. Wah. Then, adopting the demeanor of a tormented noblewoman, I left, overcome with grief and indignation. Before leaving, I clearly saw an indescribable, dark gleam in Qiao Jixuan's eyes. After that day, I immediately fell ill. Lying in bed and refusing to attend to anything, the household descended into chaos, with rumors running rampant. After several days of bed rest, the opportunity ID long awaited finally arrived. The supplementary list of candidates, upon which Qiao Jishuan had pinned all his hopes, was released and his name was absent once more. Just days prior, he could still console himself, though not on the main roster. Selection to the supplementary list still offered a chance to study at the Imperial Academy, but now, all his hopes were shattered. Upon hearing the news, I immediately set down the melon I was eating and instructed Wan Dong. Keep an eye on the bamboo courtyard. Report any movement immediately. Before long, Wan Dong entered, clutching her chest, her expression a mix of excitement and disillusionment, her gaze unfocused. Miss, something terrible has happened in the bamboo courtyard. You must go at once. Though forewarned by Wan Dong, the horrific scene inside the courtyard still shook me to my core. Lu Qiqi lay on the ground, black blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. Qiao Shuyan clutched her in agony. Qiqi, Qiqi. Then he whipped his head around, raging like a furious bull at Qiao Jishuan. You ungrateful son! How could you poison Qiqi with your own hands? She was your... His anguished roar abruptly halted when his peripheral vision caught sight of me. A shattered porcelain bowl lay at Qiao Jishuan's feet. He stood coldly. She was merely my aunt by marriage. Had she stayed quietly outside the estate, I wouldn't have minded supporting an outsider. But who asked her to stand in the way of my future? I gasped and rushed in to join the fray. What are you standing there for? Go fetch a doctor. You're not going. Qiao Jishuan suddenly roared. As a model daughter-in-law, how could I enjoy such a spectacle alone without summoning Lady Qiao? I signaled to Wan Dong, who swiftly withdrew. Over there, the father and son supposedly bound by filial piety were still screaming insults at each other. Are you even human? Do you really want Toto kill your own aunt? Qiao Shuyan stared at Qiao Jishuan in disbelief. Qiao Jishuan, however, stared coldly at Lu Qianqian on the ground, her eyes glistening with tears as she gazed up at him. Cousin-in-law, you always claimed to love me, so now, are you willing to die for my future? Tears streamed down Lu Qianqian's cheeks like broken threads. She closed her eyes in despair, the last thread of life hanging in her heart finally slipping away completely. Qiqi, Qiqi, ah, watching his beloved die in his arms, poisoned by the very son they had cherished for years. Qiao Shuyan went mad with grief. He glared at Qiao Jishuan, then suddenly grabbed a stool and smashed it viciously into Qiao Jishuan's body. You heartless beast! I'll beat you to death. I watched coldly as father and son fought. Only at this moment did I fully comprehend Qiao Shuyan's utter coldness and ruthlessness. His selfishness wasn't directed at me alone. Toward the woman he now claimed to cherish, he remained just as self-serving. He could have called a doctor for Lu Qiqi long ago, but he knew the news of today's events would bring great harm to the Qiao household. So he stood there, feigning deep sorrow and anguish, watching his beloved die before his very eyes. The old matriarch's shrieks brought the father-son confrontation to an abrupt halt. Driven mad by grief, Qiao Jishuan grabbed the scissors beside him and plunged them viciously into Qiao Shuyan's lower abdomen. Qiao Shuyan crashed to the floor, clutching his blood-soaked groin. He stared at the son he had groomed as his heir, stunned, bewildered, utterly incredulous. Qiao Jishuan froze too. The tide of rage receded, and his mind, clouded by fury, finally began to clear with painful slowness. The scissors slipped from his palm and clattered to the floor. Simultaneously, the old matriarch let out a wail and collapsed heavily to the ground. Only after accidentally gravely wounding his father did Qiao Jishuan finally panic. He frantically grabbed my hand. Mother, what should we do? I didn't mean to hurt father. Lu Qiqi was merely an unrecognized concubine. Her existence further tarnished Qiao Jishuan's reputation. Killing Lu Qiqi would ensure no one knew of their relationship. The benefits outweighed the costs. But Qiao Shuyan was different. He was not on Ly Qiao Jishuan's biological father but also an imperial official. If it became known that he had stabbed his own father, his future would be utterly ruined. I threw myself sobbing onto Qiao Jishuan's body. Husband, what's wrong with you? Husband, wake up. The physician arrived swiftly. At the sight of Qiao Xuyan's condition, his face instantly drained of color. The elderly Mrs. Qiao wept bitterly. Physician, how is my Xuyan? Say something. The physician spoke with a tremor. Minister Qiao's condition is critical. Madam Qiao, you must prepare yourself. He may be paralyzed from the waist down, and the scissor wound is too deep. Minister Qiao will likely be unable to perform his marital duties. Qiao Xuyan's eyes rolled back in agony on the bed. And he passed out. Lady Qiao's face twitched violently. Her legs gave way, and she collapsed to the floor. She wept uncontrollably. On one side was her own son. On the other her most cherished grandson. Her heart ached for her son. Yet she could not bear to watch her beloved grandson dragged off to prison. She covered her eyes and wept, deluding herself. But reality would not let her escape. Soon, officials from the Ministry of Justice burst in. The moment I learned of the commotion at Bamboo Garden, I had sent word for them. Their arrival was timely. In any dynasty, a son killing his father was a grave crime. Though Qiao Xuyan had not died, Qiao Jixuan's actions were sufficient to send him to prison to endure torture. Upon entering, Deputy Minister Zhang of the Ministry of Justice frowned. After scanning the room, his gaze lingered for a few seconds on the blood-stained scissors at Qiao Jixuan's feet before shifting away. His voice was stern and sharp. By whom was Lord Qiao wounded? Lady Qiao, seeing the Ministry of Justice officials, panicked and scrambled to her feet. It's not my grandson's fault. It's all that poisonous woman, Song Qingshang, who tried to kill my son. Take her away. Take her away. Terrified, Qiao Jixuan wept uncontrollably, clutching my hand desperately. Mother, you won't abandon me, right? I'm your only child, father's sole heir. You must save me. I can't die. I still need to become the top scholar. Mother, save me. He gazed at me with hope, his eyes brimming with desperate longing, yet tinged with a certain certainty. Meeting his gaze, I violently shook off his hand and shook my head in anguish. Jixuan, you have disappointed your mother beyond measure. You rely on being the sole heir of the Qiao household to commit such a despicable act, murdering your own father. As Qiao Jixuan stared at me in utter disbelief, I placed my hand on my belly. Your mother is 2 months pregnant. Your father will have an heir. Jixuan, no matter how much I love you, I cannot stand by and watch you make mistake after mistake. Already on the brink of collapse after realizing I wouldn't take the blame for him, Qiao Jixuan shattered completely upon hearing I was carrying his child, no longer the sole heir to the Qiao estate. Furious, he snatched the scissors from the floor and lunged toward my belly. They'll kill this damned beast. Before the scissors could touch me, Magistrate Zhang kicked him flying. His eyes blazed with fury. Arrest Qiao Jixuan. Had the matter not reached his doorstep, he wouldn't have bothered with the affairs of a capital official's household. He'd likely have found some servant to take the fall and turned a blind eye. But now Qiao Jixuan had the audacity to murder his own mother right before his eyes, showing utter contempt for the Ministry of Justice. Such a reckless fool deserved a proper lesson. As Qiao Jixuan was led away by the Ministry of Justice, all trace of his earlier ferocity vanished. He wept and pleaded with me. Mother, I was wrong. Save me. Save me. Xianer. Xianer. Lady Qiao staggered behind, helplessly watching her beloved grandson being led away. The former child prodigy had murdered both parents, an act of unspeakable depravity, coupled with my testimony as his biological mother. Qiao Jixuan was swiftly sentenced to immediate execution by beheading. When the news reached the Qiao residence, Lady Qiao wept until her eyes were blinded. Qiao Xuyan stared at his own unresponsive lower body, his eyes filled with hatred. He could barely contain his delight at the news of his own son's death sentence. It's all that poisonous woman Song Qingshang's fault. You killed Xianer. Give me back my Xianer. Hearing Lady Qiao's relentless tirade against me, he finally spoke up. Mother, you spoiled that good-for-nothing rotten. How dare he kill his own father and mother? Thankfully, Qingshang is pregnant again. Our Qiao family still has an heir. His gaze softened as he turned to me. Qingshang. Thank goodness you're here. I smiled back at him. I'm sorry. My lord. The doctor misdiagnosed me. I am not with child. Madame Qiao's wailing abruptly halted. She trembled as she demanded. What did you say? I said I am not pregnant. Now that Qiao Jishuan is dead and your precious son is crippled, the Qiao family may well die out, staring at my smiling face. Lady Qiao's eyes filled with terror. Clutching her chest, she gasped. You poisonous woman. Poisonous woman. Before her words faded, a wail escaped her lips. Blood surged to her head, and she breathed her last. Mother. Qiao Shuyan thrashed on the bed, tumbling to the floor. Song Qingshang, you vile woman. Why did you do this? Jishuan was your child too. I treated you with such kindness and loyalty. Why did you betray us like this? My child. My expression turned icy instantly. I lashed out, slapping him hard across the face. His cheek instantly swelled and reddened. My child was long ago murdered by you and Lu Qiqi. You adulterous couple. Qiao Shuyan. You deceived me for over a decade and killed my child with your own hands. I will make you pay for this blood debt with your own blood. Staring at Qiao Shuyan's face, a mix of shock, terror, and disbelief, I let out a soft laugh. But rest assured, I won't let the Qiao estate fall into your clan's hands. You'll have a child to inherit the family legacy. I summoned Wan Dong. The matriarch died suddenly from a heart attack caused by grief over her grandson's death. My husband is bedridden, and I am with child. From this day forward, the Qiao residence will close its doors to visitors. No guests will be received. Furthermore, amidst Qiao Shuyan's face contorted with rage, I calmly added, find me several men of impeccable lineage, robust and clean, with handsome features. After all, I must bear the heir to the Qiao family without delay. After a night of pleasure, I dismissed the discreet, handsome, and sturdy flower slave. Drawing back the curtains, I found Qiao Shuyan on the bed. His face flushed crimson with fury. Veins bulged on his neck, staining the cloth stuffed in his mouth crimson. His lower body reeked from prolonged neglect, and insects crawled between his legs. You bitch. If you've got the guts, kill me. I raised an eyebrow. Want to die? Too bad I won't let you off that easily. After all, if you die, I become a widow. The child isn't grown yet. What if other clan members seize our estate, leaving us orphan and widow? I dutifully wiped the cold sweat from Qiao Shuyan's forehead. You'd better live a long, tortured life, watching my child grow up before your eyes. With that, I straightened up and flung the handkerchief onto Qiao Shuyan's face. Husband, you're delirious from illness. I'll have the servants bring you a bowl of ginseng soup. Oh, and since you're always saying things to anger me, to avoid quarreling with you, I suppose I'll just have your tongue pulled out beneath the handkerchief. Qiao Shuyan cried out in terror, begging for mercy. The mute servant entered and forcefully pried open Qiao Shuyan's mouth. Wan Dong brought in the chicken ginseng soup. Staring at the greasy broth, I suddenly felt a wave of nausea. I froze for a moment, my eyes brimming with joy. My hand instinctively moved to my belly. My child, you've finally returned. This time, Mother will protect you. I lost all interest in tormenting Qiao Shuyan. Stepping out of the courtyard, I ordered, lock the gates. From now on, no one except the mute servant is permitted to enter or leave this compound. Qiao Shuyan's shrill cries were trapped within the courtyard, fading into silence. Let him rot alone in that dark, forlorn courtyard. I am bound for a bright future. The end.